Outside Melbourne's Supreme Court, the frenzied interest in this case was plain to see.
Erin Patterson lied when the conditions in which she's living in.
For the first time, a Supreme Court justice in Victoria allowed a camera inside to broadcast a sentencing, turning the proceedings in Courtroom 4 into a television event.
The prosecution submits, and your counsel concedes, that your offending falls into the worst category of offending for these offences, and that you should receive the maximum penalties for your crimes.
But I think it's an excellent move that should happen more often, that gives the community an insight into the sentencing process.
Your failure to exhibit any remorse pours salt into all the victims' wounds.
Mother of two, Erin Patterson, arrived this morning to hear her fate for murdering 3 of her in-laws and attempting to kill a 4th by lacing a beef Wellington lunch at her home in Leongatha with poisonous death cap mushrooms.
Not only did you cut short 3 lives and cause lasting damage to Ian Wilkinson's health, thereby devastating the extended Patterson and Wilkinson families, you inflicted untold suffering on your own children, whom you robbed of their beloved grandparents.
Court watcher Tammy Eggleston was inside and could see Erin Patterson as the judge read out the sentence.
She sat twiddling her thumbs through most of it, closed her eyes a handful of times, but most of the times she was just blinking.
It took 45 minutes before the final sentence was handed down.
Please stand.
You could hear a pin drop. It was just that build-up, wasn't it? You know, like how much longer is Bill going to talk until we actually get the sentence?
For the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson, I sentence you to 25 years imprisonment. For the murder of Heather Wilkinson, I sentence you to life imprisonment. For the murder of Gail Patterson, I sentence you to life imprisonment. For the murder of Don Patterson, I sentence you to life imprisonment. All sentences are to be served concurrently. The total effective sentence is life imprisonment, and I fix a non-parole period of 33 years.
Just dead silence after it happened. There was not a single gasp or anything. So yeah, it was powerful in some way, but yeah, weird. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
She did not plead guilty, which could have given her a 25 to 30% discount, but she's not a danger to the community, and the judge placed very much weight on the conditions of her custody. Most of the other cases, of the most serious cases, even multiple murders, where there's been a plea of guilty, it's usually in the range of life with 30 to 35 years. That's considered to be very, very high in this state.
Justice Beale painted a grim picture of Erin Patterson's life behind bars at Victoria's maximum security women's prison, the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, where she is at significant risk from other prisoners because of her notoriety.
You have effectively been held in continuous solitary confinement for the last 15 months, and at the very least, there is a substantial chance that for your protection, you will continue to be held in solitary confinement for years to come.
Emeritus Professor of Law Ari Freiberg was the inaugural chair of the Sentencing Advisory Council for 18 years.
It's the nature, the quality of the time, not just the length of time. And anyone has to consider, if you were locked in a room, even in your own bedroom, even in your own house, even in a hotel, 22 hours, little access to sunshine, access to the outside, what that would feel like to anyone. It can be very psychologically damaging as well.
The judge noted that the defence did not provide any psychological or psychiatric reports, and there were no character references.
It shows that there were probably no grounds, no history of any psychiatric, psychological pathology that they could draw on, no history of any reports, no analysis, no assessment, which they thought could assist them in lowering her moral responsibility, her culpability.
You maintain your innocence. In other words, there is no evidence of remorse.
Remorse is a very relevant sentencing factor. It shows that a person has accepted responsibility and shows that there are prospects of rehabilitation, having an understanding or an insight into what they've done, and in a sense, some apology to the victims. In this case, there was no remorse, no acceptance of responsibility, and therefore that would weigh as an aggravating factor.
My purpose here today is to give some well-earned thanks. Firstly, to Victoria Police. They made a professional, efficient and effective investigation into what happened at the lunch. They brought to light the truth of what happened with the death of 3 good people.
Ian Wilkinson, the Corumburra Baptist pastor, was the only surviving guest of the lunch. The enormity of the moment was evident as he gave a statement and took no questions on the steps of the court today.
We're thankful that when things go wrong, there are good people and services and systems available to help us recover. I'd like to encourage all those involved to keep turning up and serving others. Our lives and the life of our community depends on the kindness of others. I'd like to encourage everybody to be kind to each other.
As Erin Patterson begins this mammoth sentence, this is not necessarily a full stop on the case. She has 28 days to lodge an appeal. There are also a raft of projects in the works in the media exploring the case that are set to come out in the next weeks, months and years ahead.
Why this story has travelled so far and been so engaging on an immediate personal level or on a global level is still kind of an open question.
As Justice Beale observed today, all the attention is unlikely to make Erin Patterson's life in prison any easier.
I infer that given the unprecedented media coverage of your case and the books, documentaries and TV series about you, which are all in the pipeline, you are likely to remain a notorious prisoner for many years to come and as such remain at significant risk from other prisoners.
Is this a final end point to this case?
I think Erin Patterson's the only one who knows the answer to that. At this stage, we have a verdict, we have a sentence. Erin's appeal rights are still there. And, you know, we form all manner of opinions through this process. But Erin, it's Erin's future and it's in her hands as to what she chooses to do next.